The Canucks have a massive opportunity with the 2025 NHL Draft quickly approaching, and one name clearly stands out amongst the rest as far as players to take at number 15 overall that would make an immediate impact within this Canucks system upon drafting. We're going to be breaking down all that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first, if you want to help us reach our goal of 7,500 subscribers before the NHL Draft next month, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you can stay up to date on all things Canucks. And with that, let's hop straight into it, which is a massive opportunity knocking. So Canucks Army has been putting out articles over the past few weeks or so about draft prospects that the Canucks could take at number 15 overall. Mark already covered Carter Bear, and now we're going to be talking about Justin Carbonneau, coming from Quebec as an 18-year-old right winger at 6'1" and 192 pounds with a right-handed shot. You can see there in his Elite Prospects rankings as well, where he is projected to go by many other outlets, and it's around the area where the Canucks will be drafting. You see there a lot of 15s, 14s, 19s, some as high as 12. There's some as high as well as 13. There is a lot of wiggle room there, but it is all lining up to be like this is a guy who could be available for the Vancouver Canucks at the number 15 overall spot. And as far as his intangibles and what the scouting report is on him, when offensive chances arise, Carbonneau is typically at the center of it all. He lives to produce points and can do so in various ways. Rushing up the ice, he shows tremendous speed and views the ice well with his head always up in transition. Crafty right shot winger, finished his draft eligible season tied for second in the QMJHL in total goals with 46, while sitting second in league wide with 89. Firing at an impressive 1.44 point per game clip. Among the entire crop of 2025 eligibles, he finished third in goals and fifth in point totals. Uses powerful stride and delicate hands to blow by defenders for his strength, to drop the shoulder and power through his check. He's not afraid to get physical, giving him a considerable advantage when transitioning to the next level. Now, hands is something that the Vancouver Canucks need. We have a lot of passes last season where they were just going awry, bouncing off of guys' sticks, and they couldn't really corral pucks. That was a big problem in the last two postseasons ago as well, where the Canucks their passing was all over the place. They couldn't really control the puck. This is a guy who has a lot of good experience with that, and a lot of people are saying he has the best hands of anybody in the draft, as well as producing points and being able to get physical. There is another player on the Vancouver Canucks roster who, right until recently, he hasn't really been producing as much points, but he still has been able to be physical. This is a guy who's kind of like that in that sense, where he can produce points while also being physical. And as far as other intangibles, there are some areas that need work. The offensive package is highly intriguing, whether it's a filthy highlight goal showing off his crafty hands, a rocket shot. He's a natural shooter who can release that weapon in various ways. From a distance, he can unleash a powerful one-timer, similar to Jonathan Lekkerimaki. From mid-range, he delivers effective drag and release shots or powerful pinpoint wrist shots. Sounds a bit like Elias Pettersson there. Deadly off the rush and can work the inside incredibly well thanks to his swift puck handling. There's a few Canucks on this team that are kind of like that as well. It's not just the goals either. Carbonneau is a dual threat contributor and can make show-stopping assists with his deceptive nature, finding teammates with tricky passes that many could not execute. Simply put, opportunities are endless, and when the whole package is working, speed, power, compete, and offensive skill, this is a guy that the Canucks need to get. And when you look at his points, they speak for themselves, where in the QMJHL for those past two seasons, 59 points and 89 points, a massive jump in both seasons, already doing pretty well with 59 points in the one season, and then going even further in that as well. Then as well, the pretty impressive postseason as well in the QMJHL, where 2 seasons ago he had 6 points in 7 games, going 3 for 3, and as well as looking at his other younger stats as well, this guy has just been naturally producing points ever since he stepped foot on the ice at even the AAA level. This is a guy where Canadian, he can work his way up. A lot of people might not like this French, but the Habs might not be able to steal him in this sense. We can maybe poach him from going to Montreal in that sense. But this is a guy who, when you look at the Canucks system and you look at the things that they use to describe him, what more could you want in the Vancouver Canucks? Now, is this a guy who's going to jump right into an NHL roster? Maybe not necessarily, but he can at least make a massive splash in Abbotsford. Yes, he's still young. He might still want to finish out sometime in the minors, but looking at his trajectory and looking at the points that he was putting up, I can't see this guy wanting to just do anything else except just jump into the AHL, trying to jump to the NHL right away. And looking at the points that he put up in the QMJHL, there's nothing left for him to prove in the minors. He's ready, and it seems like teams are ready to make that chance on him and put him in their system and make sure that he can just work his way up through the AHL into the NHL. And hopefully Vancouver is the team to do it. His offensive attributes are exciting and projectable as a top 6 bet in a lineup, which I absolutely love, of course. However, definite holes in his game beg for maturation and development, most of which boil down to decision making. While his mind is extremely crafty, it can lead him to try too much, whether it's him attempting to stick handle his way through traffic or come up with one of his flashy assists. It's not always effective, and this is something where, yeah, he's young. Maturation, that just comes with time, and some things where if he's trying to do too much, you isolate on those things and you try and improve them each bit by bit. And it seems like he is very aware of these areas of need, and his shortcomings generally don't stem from a lack of effort. He led his team in blocked shots this season, getting in front of 123 shots for an average of just under 2 per game, which is huge compared to the next skater in Blainville, which was at just 87. So his two-way game is the most significant outlier in his game, but hopefully it can be cleaned up in the future. But this is a thing where Manny Malhotra, we've seen what he's been able to do. Look at even the prospects that played in the playoffs 2 seasons ago. You got Neil Zalman, Linus Karlsson. Those are 2 big ones that jumped into the playoffs against that Edmonton series and that Nashville series. You look at the jump that they made going into the playoffs 2 seasons ago versus coming into the NHL after Manny had some time with him. It was night and day difference for those guys, and a few of them are working their way up towards being full-time Canucks roster residents, particularly Linus Karlsson. He's definitely working his way up there. So with that, you see what Manny can do with these pieces if he's given them when they have so much natural raw talent and point producing ability. He's able to get them NHL ready. Where is it fully to the point where they're just ready to be plug and play? No, the only exception to that really has been Elias Pettersson Jr., DPD, really. And so that has really been one of the things. And Aatu Räty as well. He did a phenomenal job last season. So there is a lot of things here where Manny has a lot to work with this kid. And this kid has a ton of upside. And of all the guys that we're going to be covering over the next bit, I think this is one that should be on the top of the Canucks priority list. Carter Bear, he's coming off of injury, so that might be a bit of a risk reward factor there, but that guy can absolutely produce. But looking at Carbonneau and the intangibles that he brings, the two-way player part is huge, especially when they need a player like this, a right winger who can go along with Petey and a similar type of player like him. Is this to say that he's going to be there in 1 year from now? Not necessarily. Maybe it takes 2 years for him to fully make that jump, but at worst, he will be a middle 6 forward when he makes that jump to the Canucks. And I think that is a massive asset that the Canucks definitely need at this time, where when it seems like we're kind of starting to go younger, kind of starting to plan for the future more so than some of the older vets that we have. We saw what the signing they made yesterday with Ravinsky's. A lot of people were going, who is this guy? What? And a lot of people were saying that maybe this is indicating that we're trading our first round draft pick. I don't think that's the case here. If anything, this is all just collateral contingency plans for the departure of Brock Boeser and potentially Pius Suter if they can't get a deal done with that. So they're going younger, going with people that they can just establish for the future. Maybe it doesn't put them in a win now mindset nearly as much as they were a season and a half ago or even last season at the beginning of the year, but at least it tries to show some promise for the future. Does it mean Quinn Hughes will stay? I don't know. If they keep going younger and younger, it's going to get harder and harder to make Quinn Hughes want to stay. However, if these young guys just come out and just excel right off the bat, look at what Jonathan Lekkerimäki was doing in Abbotsford, then coming into the NHL, had some really solid games. I think another year in Abbotsford, he's going to make that jump perfectly to Vancouver. So this is a case where if we bring in a guy like Carbonneau, that is almost like Jonathan Lekkerimäki-esque. You can have a really bright future ahead and not a long time of development before he's ready to make that NHL jump. But what do you guys think about all this? What do you guys think about bringing in Justin Carbonneau as a draft pick? Is there things that you really like about his game? Is there things that really make you a little bit concerned? Or do you think this is absolutely the perfect fit for the Canucks to draft at their number 15 overall draft spot? Let us know what you guys have to say down in the comments below. I know I'm definitely really high on this kid. Of all the guys that we're going to be looking at over the next bit, definitely at the top of my list is Justin Carbonneau. So this is a name that hopefully we will see get called by the Vancouver Canucks if he's available on draft day. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.